Emil Uzelac was an important yet often forgotten character of World War I. He was not just the leader of the Austro-Hungarian Air Force, but also the one who established it and kept it above the water, fighting against overwhelming enemy forces on multiple fronts. General Uzelac had a difficult job, as he had to fight not only the enemy forces but also against the outdated doctrines and leaders of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He was the one of those very few officers of the monarchy who actually embraced and supported modern doctrines and technology as much as he could in his situation. He was not only the commander of the air forces but also a pilot himself. Although in this video we are focusing on his role in World War I, his story did not finish with the collapse of the monarchy. Emil Uzelac was born in Komárom, which is in present-day Slovakia, but back then it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So he was born on 26th of August 1867. And he was born to an Orthodox family which was actually from Lika from Croatia. He grew up near Karlovac, which is again in Croatia, and he finished his general education there. Once he graduated, he enrolled to the Technical and Military Academy of Civil Engineering and Crafts in Vienna. He graduated from this school in August of 1888. After graduation, Uzelac entered the 2nd Engineering Regiment as a lieutenant and served in Pula and in Trieste. Not much later, he has graduated in electrical engineering, then he enrolled at the Naval Academy in Trieste and was promoted to the rank of lieutenant of the Merchant Navy. But just after 2 years, Uzelac entered again the engineering command and served in Klagenfurt. Here he was promoted to rank of major on 1st of May 1908. At these years, the Austro-Hungarian High Command finally recognized that they are falling behind in aviation compared to their rivals and started to set up their own aviation and balloon troops. This was not widely supported as many high-ranking officers looked at this new technology and new branch as an unnecessary wasting of resources that could be spent on well-established branches of the military instead. At the proposal of General Alexander von Kropotin, Uzelac was appointed as the commander of the newly formed Imperial and Royal Aviation troops. From his appointment on 24th of April 1912 until the dissolution of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1918, Uzelac was the first and only actual commander of the whole Austro-Hungarian Air Force. Once he got appointed, only 4 weeks later Uzelac passed a pilot test and immediately continued his training for combat pilot, which he finished in August of the same year. His task as a commander and advocator of this newly formed branch of the military was very difficult because he had to fund and organize an aviation program in a country of limited industrial capacity and generally poor understanding or willing to evolve. Let's just look at what's happened with the world's first tank or world's first armored car, which both came from the Austro-Hungarian monarchy and were swiftly ignored by the High Command. Nevertheless, his work was appreciated in 1912 and Emperor Franz Joseph I awarded him the Military Merit Cross for his achievements. Other than this, Emil Uzelac was awarded with many other awards for his role in the modernization of the Austro-Hungarian aviation. Uzelac took his role seriously, and he knew that he can only establish a new branch if he's up to date with all the new inventions and technology, so in addition to being a trained combat pilot, he also flew in air balloons. And on 15th of May 1914, he was actually awarded the diploma of the leader of free balloons by the Austrian Aero Club. On 1st of May 1918, he was promoted to the rank of Major General, but then when the command structure was reorganized on 1st of October 1918, he was formally degraded because his position as an Air Force commander was renamed as a Deputy Air Force Commander. Emil Uzelac commanded the Air Force until the very end of the First World War. Following the end of the First World War and the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy, Uzelac moved back to Croatia and lived for some time in Petrinja, but shortly was drafted into the newly formed Royal Yugoslav Army in 1919. He was appointed as the Air Force's Commander-in-Chief. He was in charge of the organization and modernization of the Yugoslav aviation, where he laid the foundations for a modern air force, and retired in August 1923. In 1941, Uzelac was called for help again and joined the Air Force of the independent state of Croatia as an honorary general. He worked on the construction of the Air Force, however, in the same year, November 1941, at the age 74, he retired. Once the Second World War was over, he was imprisoned due to his part in the independent Croatian state, and eventually he died on 7th of January 1954. Emil Uzelac was an important part in the history of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. by being the leader of a newly established and modern branch of the military and leading his department from the establishment until the bitter end. Yet he is often forgotten when we are looking back at the Austro-Hungarian monarchy. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.